Oh, no, he didn't.
Girl, yes, he did.
Y'all know he did. That's the only way we've been here for 4 seasons. Because you know he did. You know he did.
He did.
You know he did, right? Welcome back to the podcast. Oh no, girl. Yes, we really appreciate y'all listening. Thank you to all of our new listeners. Hopefully you've had a chance to kind of go back in time and relive some of our traumas. It's always a great laugh. How you doing, girlfriend?
Pretty good. Doing pretty good.
No, that's you know, that's good. We'll take that. We'll take that.
We're gonna go with that.
We go moving forward to a new month. We're still hanging out in 2022. Pandemic light, I think we would call it now. Pandemic light, LITE.
Yeah.
I think we're still in pandemic. But we all are rocking and rolling. I'm feeling pretty good too. I have my smoothie here that you will not see me drink because it tastes horrible, but the aesthetic is there. Remind me to take a picture and post it before I dump it out. Remind me to take a picture of this smoothie. So I had a situation this weekend. Oh, don't forget, if you're listening, you can also watch this episode on YouTube. Don't forget, we also have Patreon. You should subscribe and get some behind the scenes dish. We give you most of our hearts and lives up here, but we also... We still got mamas, so you got to pay to get the other version of things sometimes.
Baby, that tea sitting on Patreon right now. It's some tea, honey.
They get all the tea.
I've been hot.
Because we do this as a public, platform, we do try to protect some of the innocent and guilty. Not so much on Patreon. We'll just leave it there. Make sure you subscribe to us on wherever you listen to your favorite podcast so you never miss a new episode. Okay, got the business out the way. So let me tell you something that happened to me this weekend. And it is something that has happened to all of us several and many and varied times.
Mm-hmm.
And we had an episode before called Texas from Exes. And I remember we went back and forth on Texas. The text from X. So I got a text from an ex over the weekend. I actually get texts from exes. I don't want to say regularly, but I was surprised. I was actually genuinely surprised to get this particular text from this particular ex. And because I wasn't looking to ever hear from this person again. But this is my most recent ex. Most recent ex. Mm-hmm. So we broke up. I never know when to say when we broke up. So being my friend, I think we broke up probably in October. I think he thinks we broke up maybe in December. When do you think we broke up? I think it was October.
Yeah, you were done in October.
I was done in October. And we did an episode. And remember last season, if you haven't listened, we had an episode about demoting my boyfriend to just a dude. He don't have boyfriend qualities. He ain't doing it to be my boyfriend. We were talking about demoting the boyfriend to just a dude I know. It ain't got to be harsh. It ain't got to be rude. It ain't got to be bad. Just be a dude. We didn't do that. Just a dude I know. I was going to demote him. Same boyfriend. So since last we spoke, this man has done nothing to try to be in a relationship with me. He will apologize. He will say he wants to be in a relationship with me. I don't know if y'all can hear the crickets. And then nothing else happens. Nothing. And when I say nothing else happens, I mean, no phone calls happen. No plans are made. No flowers are sent. No gestures are offered. Literally nothing. So the last many times when he said he wanted to be with me after October. Now October, I'm done. I'm ready to demote him. We're good. This ain't got to be my man no more. But since October, he has made several and many pleas for reestablishment of the relationship. And my response has been, because I was trying something new, hey, I would give you the space to do all the things you say you want to do. So that means I ain't blocking you. I'm not answering phone calls. I'm not responding to text messages. But if you're saying you want to be with me, and to this point you have done nothing to show you want to be with me other than say it, I would give you the space. Now, as my friend who was with me during the hiatus when all that time would have happened, then what happened?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Like nothing.
Absolutely.
Like not one thing.
Not a thing at all. Matter of fact, I think he probably traveled to your area a couple of times.
A couple of times. So it was a long distance relationship. And he would come to my city because he has his ex-wife lives in my town. And so she has their daughters. And I know he comes at least once a month to see them. And would come to my city and wouldn't even call. And I would know because he had already sent me his schedule of when he was going to be here. So he would apologize. I'm so sorry. I said, okay, do what you say you're going to do. And he would literally then not call, not text anymore, be in my city. And then maybe after he left the city, he would send a text like, hey, what's up, babe?
Yeah. We need to get a psychologist or someone on who is medically trained to discuss this. Because there has to be, there is a reason men do this.
There's a reason. I have theories.
We do have theories, and I think our theories are not off base at all. I would love to hear the medical science behind it, because it's or you know, I've been watching a lot of comic book movies and stuff like that. It's almost like they need an injection of power of some sort.
And that's exactly what's happening.
And that can come in the form of a response, even if it's a negative response, an acknowledgement of, I received your text message and you made me feel like this, whether it's good or bad. And then that kind of powers them up to go out and spread their goodness everywhere.
I'm feeling generous. I got my phone out. I'm feeling generous.
Okay.
Because when we say nothing, I think sometimes, especially we have quite a few men that listen to this episode. I think sometimes men think we over exaggerate, or our expectations of communications are just too high and unrealistic for what's really going to happen. So I want to give y'all dates and times of communication, because I don't want y'all to think that this is just he wasn't communicating up to my standard. I'm saying he wasn't communicating to the American Society of Communication Standards. I'm sure it exists. Follow him on Twitter. Okay, so now this says November 29th. So this is after Thanksgiving, when he was in my city and did not call or make any attempt to see me. This is after Thanksgiving. Keep in mind, I'm done in October because I bought a ticket to go fly to see him, and he just stopped returning all my phone calls for a month. Do you remember that? That's when I was done. But he apologized. I obviously engaged and interacted with him in some way for him to apologize and say all these things. But now we're at November 29th, and y'all know that's after Thanksgiving. And I see, good morning. I respond, good morning. Tell him I got my booster shot. So I said, I know your birthday's coming up. What are your plans for New Year's Eve? His birthday was December 28th. Do you have plans for New Year's Eve? This is what I say. He says, not this year. What are you doing for Christmas and New Year's Eve? This is November 30th. I say no plans for either at this point, November 30th. Okay, so I don't hear from him for a few more days. December 3rd. Hey, do you have plans this weekend? I said, yeah, my friend's coming in town from Philly. He proceeds to leave me a voice message that says, oh, I guess you don't like me no more. I respond, hey, me having plans with my friend don't have nothing to do with you. But before that, I spend time with people who want to spend time with me. I keep trying to make myself available to you. You don't ever want to spend time with me. Please don't say nothing to me when I say I'm spending time. And there's also a girlfriend, but I don't owe you that. I said my friend from Philly, whatever. So I made the comment, you have taught me to live my life without considering you in it. I'm doing that. So when you send messages like the one you send today, I don't really get your purpose. I'm not mad. I'm just not big into wasting my time and energy. And his response is, wow, wasting time, really? All right, let's move forward. That was December 3rd. I don't hear from him again until December 21st. Now, I know I haven't heard from him. I'm looking at the text. He ain't called, right? He ain't called in between. So sometimes you can't just go by your text thread because you're talking to people in between. I ain't heard from this man. So that's December 3rd, when he said something about my friend coming in town. Now we're at December 21st. I haven't heard from this man. He says hello. I do not respond. December 22nd, he says, why the ignore? I would never do that to you. If you're not watching this on YouTube, you're missing my face up in the camera. That's what he said on December 20th. He said he would never ignore me. Now, y'all, okay. So I should not have responded. I responded. Number one, this is what I responded December 22nd. Number one, I'm not ignoring you. Number 2, there's no situation in reality that a 50-plus-year-old man doesn't call a woman he claims he's interested in for over 4 weeks and then ask her why she's ignoring him. You cannot be serious right now. Number 3, that's all you've ever done is ignore me. Whether you are sitting at my table on the phone with someone else, that could be a whole nother episode. Whether I purchased a ticket to see you and you don't return a phone call, and whether I showed or not, you could care less. Whether you've been in my city multiple times and never called, whether I suggest we take a trip for your birthday, whether I tell you my availability, you make no plans, whether I tell you I'd rather talk about our issues than text, you have ignored me. Number 4, I have zero interest in going back and forth with you. I'm not begging anyone to be with me. I won't get any of the time I've wasted back. He responded, that was at 8 something in the morning when he asked me why I was ignoring him. He responded at 7:23 p.m. It's not a waste of time. Wow. So at this point, I realized I'm good. I'm done. We're good. I don't hear from him again until December 31st. That's New Year's Eve. I had a show that night with Tommy Davidson. I had already decided that I was going to take this time off this year coming up. I was very excited about the energy I had already reclaimed back. And I get a very long text from him on New Year's Eve. Now, keep in mind, y'all, I have not seen this man since September. He was in my city in October. I had a ticket to go to his city in October, but he never called me back for me to even say what time or what we doing or nothing. Mm-hmm. But then he texted me tonight that he thought the trip was over and said, "Are you too mad to talk tomorrow?" Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah, just a background information on that. She did buy a ticket. She did not get on a plane and go there because
he don't know that. I never even talked to him.
He never knew that she did not travel to his city. So all he thinks is, so that makes him really especially trash. All he thinks she flew
I knew somebody else in the city because I was going to spend some time with my girlfriend in the city as well.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she flew to he thinks in his mind she flew to the city, and so on the last night of what would have been her last night there, probably on our way back, he reaches out then.
And the reach out was a text that says, "Are you too mad to have a conversation tomorrow?"
Right. As if she was sitting in his city, mad, pissed off at him. No.
I did not respond or acknowledge that. I didn't respond for like 3-4 days after that. And he kept texting, and I finally said, "Hey, I don't know what your deal is, but I'm good." So by the time I just started reading these texts, this is November. After that has already happened in October. When I'm done, feeling generous. This is a New Year's Eve text from him. Eunice, nothing would make me happier than for you to give me one more chance. I fully realize how I've fallen short as it relates to us, but I'm expressing remorse through this message and asking for another opportunity. I can assure you that I do whatever I can to show you that I'm serious about us. My intentions with you have always been grounded in authenticity. The last few months have been a bit challenging only because of many things converging at one time. I know we make a great couple, and that's what I want. So again, please find it within you to talk to me sometime this weekend so I can more fully explain how I think we can proceed together. Please. Now, let me say something about this man. Very successful, very intelligent, very handsome. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. Get it away from me. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want none of it. And the reason why I want to be clear, because so many times, especially recently, outside of the podcast, if I share something on my social media about dating or men or being single, men then come and try to tell you why you're single. Well, that's why you ain't got no man. Well, that's why. And it's like, no, I don't have a man because I don't want the ones that have made themselves almost available to me. I'm good on that. Now, I could be walking around with this very handsome, attractive, successful man on my arm, and everybody would think, oh, that girl done hit the jackpot. But this is literal doo-doo. I'm good on that. Literal doo-doo. I can smell it. I can smell it through the phone. Okay. So I do not respond. It's New Year's Eve. I see this paragraph. I obviously didn't read it right. I think I read it for the first time for real this weekend when I read it to you. I said, I obviously didn't read this right because it pissed me off more today than it did the day he sent it. But I don't think I even read it really that day. Because
why did it piss you off again? Like, explain.
Because going back, this man who has done nothing to show any care or concern. One of the notes that I pointed out was one time when he did come to town, he sat on the phone on his last night in town while we were like having drinks and music and trying to set the vibe for our last evening together. He sat on the phone with a female friend for over 20 minutes and she was not in the alley being murdered. And he didn't understand why I thought that was rude and inappropriate. And why can't you just call her when you got home tomorrow? Or why didn't you know you visited your girlfriend? Or why would I sit here and watch you talk on the phone to another woman when I'm like, hey, we was literally like in the middle of something. I paused the music thinking you was gonna say, hey, okay, yeah, I'll talk to you later. That's a whole nother thing. Okay. But anyway, I'm thinking like, how did I even talk to him after that? Like when I replay it, right? So this text is problematic for several reasons. But for the first sentence to say, Eunice, nothing would make me happier than for you to give me one more chance. Why would I be someone caring about his happiness when he ain't never cared about mine? Nothing would make you happier. Brother, I'm out of the making you happy business. Retired. Okay. Sold the shop. Closed the doors. Okay. Like nothing would make you happier. So if you want to know how to not be happy, tell me what to do to make you happy. We're gonna do it's gonna be called opposite day, bitch. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. But the whole thing was about him and his schedule, and I feel we should be together. We're good. So I do not respond or acknowledge that text. This is on New Year's Eve at 10:29 p.m. Saturday, January 1 at 1:20 p.m. he sends another text. What could another text that he has poured out him heart? For the how many times has he poured out him heart and then literally does nothing after that to facilitate anything? Mm-hmm. The next day he sends a text that says, so you don't accept my apology? I apologize. He actually has said that to me before on another time. I apologize, so you don't have to be mad anymore. Literal words. I apologize, so you don't have to still be mad. Mm-hmm. That's when I started realizing, okay, he's on the spectrum. Mm-hmm. On the spectrum. This is something else. This is something else. This is something else. So when he said, so you don't accept my apology on January 1, I did respond. I said his name, and I said, I've been accepting apologies from you since September. He responded, I'm doing the math, 6.5 hours later. This ain't even funny. This ain't even funny.
It's not.
This ain't even funny. At 1:20, he says, so you don't accept my apology. I responded at 1:29. I've been accepting apologies from you since September. He responds at 7:52 p.m. from 1:29. Okay. And it says, I understand. I really do feel bad. That was the end of that. I never heard from him again until this weekend. So y'all, this is January 1. We rubbing on March's booty. Talking about, let's go. Let's get ready. Mm-hmm. So I have not heard from him. I'm not looking to hear from him. I don't want him. He's not my man. We have no relationship. We had no attachment, obviously. We're good. If you've already listened to the podcast this year, you know this is a year for me to just have peace and sanity. This kind of gives you an idea of how somebody's trying to almost make you feel like you crazy. Yeah. It's like, and that's what I think when men do this, it's gaslighting. It's to make you feel like you not really experiencing what you are literally experiencing. So you say, I haven't heard from you in a month.
They're trying to paint a picture for you in your mind about who they are just through, it's the saddest, most pitiful form of whatever.
It's a manipulation.
And for this guy to be over the age of 50, isn't he 50
yeah,
plus?
He's over 50. Mm-hmm.
And to be intelligent. I was
about to he's very educated, has all the degrees. We don't be trying to give out nobody's identity.
Yeah, but
he has all the degrees.
And influences people.
Writes books and things.
Yeah.
All the things.
Oh, like these people exist. These people exist.
And this person speaks and lectures and is respected in his field. Like this is a real life person. Handling me like this. So that was January 1. I don't want to be in this relationship no more. I haven't been in the relationship since October. I actually will say he hadn't been in it since before that, but he still be talking about something. So that is not attractive to me. I'm not addicted to struggle love. I don't have to prove my worth to nobody. If you literally, if I'm supposed, and let me also say this was not a situationship. This was my actual boyfriend.
Right.
This was
y'all had established that y'all were.
Yes.
Yeah. Y'all established that y'all were in a relationship, and he took the lead on that, which really like bothers me. It seems like men do that a lot, where they'll take the lead and say, hey, I want to make this official. I don't need any time, this, that, and other. And you literally did not want to make this official and did not have to. We could have stayed in this situationship if that's what you wanted. So what are you gaining from having a girlfriend that you don't want to be with?
Don't want to talk to, don't want to see, don't want to spend time with, don't want to make plans. I mean, like, I don't get the point of it, right? And y'all, I don't know if some of you who listen to podcasts know me in person. I know that don't mean we hang out, but so I don't hang out with nobody. But for anybody who does know me, and even if you don't, I am a good ass time. I'm just going to say that. I'm a good ass time. I don't get out often, but when I do, I'm getting out to have a good time. I'm not the person that's going to complain when we get there. I'm not the person that's going to try to spend the least amount of money when we get there. Yeah. I'm not the person that's going to compete.
You all in.
I'm all in. If I left the house, we here to have a good time. If you in my space, what can I get you to eat? I want you to have a good time in my space. So I'm somebody who, because I don't socialize a whole lot, when I do, it better be a memory. I ain't looking to be arguing or fighting, especially when I'm spending my money. But anyway, that's January 1. I have not heard from that man since. He has not called once. He has not texted once. And that's fine. I was not looking for him and really had not thought about him like at all. I have been very happy, and have referred to in one of the earlier podcast episodes, but I would probably say it to you probably more than you can stand, about my vibrations being so high, about how good I feel, about how in my right mind I am, of just being able to say, oh, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, or I feel like this today, I don't feel like this today. When I was in that particular relationship, but all the relationships I've been in, because I tend to date the same guy over and over again. And when I say the same guy, they're going to be narcissistic. And I know that's a buzzword now. Most men are like, oh, that's all women want to say is all men are narcissistic. A lot of them are, because of the programming and the way they've been raised in this particular society. So yes, a lot of men don't have any empathy. They don't ever think about how nobody else feel about nothing. So they talk about how happy something would make them after they have made you miserable the entire time. They would talk about what they want and how you should feel, say what they want, when they have literally made a point to never do anything that you would want. They don't speak in terms that involve anybody else's feelings, times, or emotions. They only speak in the context of what they want and what's interesting to them and what would serve them. And this guy was absolutely no different, and wasn't different from the one before that, and wasn't different from the one before that. Right. Now, why do I keep, I'm the common denominator. Why do I always draw this guy? And all three of the guys that I've mentioned that I dated last year were all high profile, successful Black men who had been married before, had children already, were involved dads, as far as what they expressed, good successful jobs, money in the bank, good living situations. So all of these is what society would tell me is a high value man, and express some kind of interest towards me. All three of them offered an idea of a future with them. All three of them articulated how I needed to get attached to an idea of being with them. Was not me. Was not me. Okay. So I am the perfect person for a narcissist because I'm an empath. I'm a very empathetic person. I feel everything for everybody. It's a horrible thing. It's a great thing because it makes me a very caring person, but I have to protect my space, my energy, because I'll feel everything wrong in the world today. I would be somewhere in the bed, depressed, because I would have felt it all. So I try to limit, and imagine having a career as a TV news anchor and being that way. It just was not healthy for me. But, narcissists are always looking for power supplies, and I am a big old outlet. And when these dudes who be somewhere flitting and floating around being a big deal in their life, before they ever met me, they say me and they're like, oh, and imagine the power I can get from this one. Well, you know what? I don't have no problem if we plug it into each other. Let me get some of yours, you get some of mine, and we just lighten this thing up. Don't ever go that way. They plug into me and then they drain all my power supply. And then they unplug when they find a new power supply. So now I'm left here depleted of all my power and energy and good right sense. So when this clown texted me this weekend, he texted me 2 letters. I've not heard from him since January 1. Wasn't looking to hear from him then. Haven't heard from him. Now we about to be in March. The text says, hi. The text says, H-I. Hi. Now, what that was he had his power cord. He wanted to see, could he get a spark from the outlet? Do I still have access to her power? Do I still have access? So when you get that, hey, big head text, when you get that, hey, what's up text, and you ain't heard from this dude, he just coming to see if he can get a spark from your outlet.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a positive one. They just
you ain't even got to say nothing nice back to him.
You can be mean as I don't know what. That might even power him up a little bit more. Just showing you care.
When I saw the guy that inspired this podcast a few months ago, and you were with me, and I went up to him, he came up to me. I was ignoring him quite successfully. And he came up to me and apologized for breaking up with me via text message while I was on the air doing the news. And that inspired this whole podcast. And I had been drinking that night, so I gave him a whole lot of energy. I was giving him all my mind. I brought him over to my girlfriend and said, girl, get him, talk about him. And you ain't give him no smoke. You were just like, you paid him dust. And it wasn't until the next day that I realized he just wanted that power back.
Yeah. And he got what he needed.
He got what he wanted. It didn't matter. It didn't matter that I was going off on him. It didn't matter that I was talking bad about him. It didn't matter that I was pointing him out to my girlfriends like, this the dude right here that inspired the podcast. It was still my energy and my power in his direction. And it wasn't until I sobered up the next day was I mad that I gave it to him. And again, he wanted to be friends. I said, okay, let's see. Ain't heard from him since. Hey, boom. Hey, you don't really want to be friends. So anyway, this most recent ex-boyfriend on Friday at 6:44 p.m. texted me hi. And I screenshotted and sent it to you and was like, what you doing, girl? What did you think when you saw that text? Because we don't talk about this person. We ain't thinking about this person. When I sent you the screenshot that this person rose from the grave to send me them 2 letters, what was your thought?
I rolled my eyes.
You rolled your eyes.
I mean, I honestly, it did not surprise me because he has shown this pattern of reaching out every several weeks, wanting to get a response, wanting to, not for anything, he doesn't want to do anything. He don't want to,
What kind of response would hi garner? Like, right?
Hello.
Like somebody says hi. Oh, I would say, oh yeah, no.
Hello.
So I do not acknowledge or respond. I sent it to you. I sent it to a couple other friends like, y'all look at this right here. Now, what I said that night was a true statement. I said, it's interesting how dudes don't realize that before I flush, I look at the turd before I flush. Because I don't ever want to be surprised by the old turd thinking it's some new shit. I have already flushed this turd, sir. So they think if I just show up in the toilet, she'll think this is new shit. No, sir. Photographic memory of every turd I've ever flushed before. Can't none of them come back up and think I'm gonna think it's some new shit.
Oh God.
Be clear. Ladies, make sure you take a good look at your turds before you flush them. Because they will show up and act like they are some new shit. No, baby. No, baby. No, baby, no. Graphic, but true. Yeah. So I do not respond. I do not acknowledge. This man then proceeds to text me the next day at 7:09 a.m. And the text he sends the next day says, can you at least respond? That's going to be a no for me, dog. can I at least respond to you texting me after how many months? Hi, I don't owe you my time, my energy, a text, my attention, an explanation, a response. I owe you nothing. Like literally. No. So now now you're the victim because you said hi and I can't even respond. Boy, bye. Y'all, this is
what my response would have been? Block.
And I asked you, how do you block people? I did ask you. I said, you would have just wrote blocked? You would have wrote block?
No. I just would have went there and just blocked.
I asked you yesterday how to block. And do they know they block? I ain't never had to block nobody in my life.
If I don't keep going to voicemail,
I asked you last night. I said, but you know why? I don't even have to go through the effort. Like that would be effort on my part to block him.
But
it's because he ain't calling. He ain't trying to.
No, I know. But the thing is, for me, receiving those messages would trigger a response. Even if I don't say anything, it's like, why I'm over here having me a good time. Leave me alone. And that would be why I would. That would be why I would block it, because it's like you keep saying you have, like when the last message she sent, you can at least do that. No, brother, I don't owe you a thing. I owe you absolutely zero. Mm-hmm. And so I don't even want you to have access to me anymore.
But he doesn't. And that's what I'm saying. He doesn't have access. Now, let me tell you, I have ignored him before. I have not responded to his text before. And after the third or fourth day of why can you at least respond? I have responded. I have told you what I felt. I have told you what I needed. You have shown me that's not what you're trying to do. You don't have to keep reaching out. I've done that maybe 3-4 different times when I have decided I was done. He gonna get it this time. Because even though I was saying that, it was still access to my power.
Yeah, exactly.
What you need to see is literally never again. Mm-hmm. Literally, you will never get another text from me ever again in the history of life of the world. And as many times as you text me, as much as you have to not say hi, you literally will never get another text from me. Mm-hmm. And that's just because I don't have nothing else to say about nothing. I don't have nothing else I need to ever hear him say about nothing. There's no curiosity. There's no love. There's no attachment. I couldn't even grieve and mourn the relationship. I was just more annoyed because we didn't have enough good stuff for me to miss when it ended. I was relieved. I ain't got to do that no more. Boy, bye. So anyway, ladies, that is the lesson for the day. Steady your turds before you flush them. Because they do pop back up. And you say, but girl, but he said he want to try it. It ain't like I'm talking to nobody else. But girl, he said he was going, and his daddy did just die. And he was going through a lot. But girl, now that he didn't have me and had time to miss me, now he'll probably appreciate me better this time because now he had, but girl, that's the same turd. Turds do not reform into new shit. They might turn white. They might turn, no, they don't do none of that.
Let's not go.
They don't do none of that.
God. Yeah, it's just pill.
So that's just what it is. It helps me to know that my healing is definitely going in the right direction because like I said, last year, when I knew this relationship was not viable, I would still be compelled to tell him what was on my mind or to give him the space to say what was on his mind. There's literally zero interest. There is nothing for either one of us to say to each other ever again. And this is not even me being mad at him or, because that was my thing last year when we did the episode about demoting the boyfriend. Just be a dude I know over there. I ain't got to have people all over the country that I'm mad at or that I don't like. Just be a stranger again. We good. Like, just be a stranger. We ain't got no property or kids together. We had no plans to cancel. We're good. No deposits that had to be repaid. We're Gucci. So that's it.
Yeah, about that.
Look, that's it. She rolls her eyes at everything though. So when I say, what did you say? She said, I roll my eyes. I'm like, That is the industry standard response.
It really is.
For my dear friend, because it is this thing that men will do this. Now, we've talked about it before, like they have the emotional bandwidth the last 2 or 3 months, and then they ghost you, and there's like a reset for them, and then they have another 2-3 months, and then they ghost you. But that's just because they don't have the emotional intelligence or bandwidth to go beyond that. And that's not going to be an option over here.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you work through that on your own. On your
own time. And what's so damaging is that we are out here in these streets trying to love damaged people. We're damaged ourselves. We can't look for a perfect person or an undamaged person, because we can't present a perfect undamaged person. But a man will always be so quick to say, oh, well, I remember reading my list of what I deserved and what I wanted. And it was like, honesty, respect, companionship, peace. I want him to be in awe of me. I want him to support me. I want him to offer me the best and not allow me to accept less. And I read it to the guy I was dating at the time, one of the guys last year. And his response to the list was, and his name is Jesus.
Like that. I mean, that right there.
And I think back to that day that I talked to that dude after that.
Yeah.
So y'all, most of my year that I'm not dating, it's really being spent to build a spaceship to go back in time and kick my ass. I am building a spaceship because things that I said just last year. So last year was just a few months, just a few weeks ago. Things that I said and did last year, I cannot fathom today. But also today, I'm in my absolute right mind. I'm not bitter. I'm not jaded. But in my right mind, I would never ask a man who has offered me a connection and attachment to him, when am I going to see you again? I would never fix my mouth to say that to another man in the history of my life. You're dating somebody right now.
Yeah.
He's busy. He's never told you he's busy. You know he's busy, but he has never heard those words. He has never articulated to you that he's busy, but he will articulate to you that he wants to see you and spend time.
Yes.
And this will be a future episode. And what you hear sometimes, because he's never told you he's busy. He's never told you he's too busy. He's never told you he's doing something more important than spending time with you. But you can see that he's busy, and some of your PTSD will cause you to pull back because of all the dudes before that told you they was busy. And so we don't be wanting to seem clingy or needy. So we be messing up a blessing with somebody who ain't telling us they busy. Just like, oh, he's busy. Let me back up. Let me back up. He's busy.
Yeah, that's my natural inclination. He doesn't have to say it at all. He just say, I'm headed to work. Or I got to work 7 days straight this week or whatever. And then my
you go to fallback mode. You go to fallback.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, well, let me not bother you. And that's never, and actually kind of almost, it caused an issue a couple of weeks ago by me saying, let me not bother you. And he's like, wait, where you been?
Right. And that's why I said this is a whole episode to itself. And you and I had to have a conversation of the PTSD of you literally have had a man send you his schedule before. And it meant nothing. So when a man tells you his schedule, that's not necessarily comforting to you. Somebody else who hadn't had that experience, like, oh, girl, he gave me his schedule like you was the first time somebody gave me his schedule.
Right.
Okay, well, he obviously wants me to get in where I fit in because he's telling me what he got, but he want me to fit in somewhere else. That's positive. And that's the thing is we out here in these streets and we dealing with a lot of false prophets, y'all. A lot of false prophets in these streets.
Yes.
And so when the real things show up, we don't even know how to receive.
Yeah.
So I would rather protect my energy and not give another false prophet access to my power ever again. Because guess what? If I'm not giving access to a false prophet of my power, I'm not drained. I am powered up all the time for me, for myself. I didn't even have energy and power for myself during those times because I was drained. I'm somewhere trying to, well, what else can I say? What else can I do? How many more chances can I give?
Not anymore.
Ever again in the history of life. I can't make y'all a whole lot of promises, but this, what you won't ever see. Now, that don't mean the next guy decides to date is going to be perfect and he going to be the one and we ain't going to break up. That don't mean that.
Right.
But it ain't going to be on the level of what last year was.
It won't be somebody's taking your energy and you not receiving anything in return.
Oh yeah, no, they're gonna be powering me up. They're gonna be powering me up. And I made mention to my new friend I made. I always feel better after our interactions because of some conversation or some new thought or something is making me think about things differently, and that's positive. I mean, if you can make me think about something in a way that I hadn't thought about it before. I'm into that, you know. So
well, that's because he's feeding into you as you're feeding into him.
Right.
And so you're not leaving the conversation. You're leaving the conversation in a different light. What can I do to make myself better? So he is feeding you to make yourself better, as opposed to when you left this last guy, it would be like, well, how can I make him, you know, better? Or how can I make this relationship work? It's a different type of energy where, you know, you guys are vibing.
Anxiety. It's confusion.
Yeah, you guys are vibing on, you know, y'all vibe, y'all don't have any of those communication issues, and y'all actually do communicate. He listens and this, that, and the other. It doesn't take your focus off of the things you want to do. Right. If anything, it feeds into that focus.
Right.
100%. That's what you want.
100%. The guys from last year, you know, you really are walking around in an altered state of reality. And then they say one thing and do the absolute opposite. And so you're then left thinking, how did I misunderstand what they said? Mm-hmm. How am I so stupid? How am I so wrong? How am I so desperate that I thought they said they wanted to be with me? You really start trying to revisit history of where you went wrong. And like, did I make that up? Did I make that up? Mm-hmm. Did I ask me to be my girlfriend? And so that's all that gaslighting. But again, we'll get into all those things as the season goes on. But I just wanted y'all to say that by not responding, I didn't even take the energy and time to reflush the old turd. Guess what? I went back in, the turd's gone. It just found its way back down the hole. Mm-hmm. Flush yourself, brother. I will not catch it. Yeah. But other than that, all's well. Hey, but y'all don't be attached also because something sound good and look good and it ain't good. Hey, let that thing go. Whether it's a job, a career, a house, a man, if it ain't good to you and you more attached to the fact that other people think it's good.
It looks good on paper. Everybody think we got it made. No, bro. Mm-hmm.
Let that thing go. Let that thing go. It ain't worth it. It is, y'all, peace is non-negotiable. My peace is absolutely non-negotiable. Period.com. All right. Okay then. Until next time. Oh, no, he didn't.
Girl, yes, he did.